Yeah, what's up, guys? Up next, I got my chat with Willie. This was coming in from Perth, Western Australia. We talk about the latest round in Super Rugby Pacific. And since it's the halfway point of the competition, we decided to go down the table and talk about each of the teams, where they're at in the table, and predict where they'll end up at the end of the season. Hopefully the Blues will get to the top 6 and defend their title. But we'll see what happens there. Coming up, this podcast is brought to you by the West West Network. It's brought to you by westwestnet.com. I've got a new episode of Channel 135. Me and Eric are doing reviews on each of the episodes of Daredevil Born Again from Disney Plus. So you can check out our podcast, Channel 135. We review TV series and movies and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you're into pop culture and movies and that, go check out the Channel 135 podcast on Spotify and on our West West Network YouTube channel. All right, let's get Willie in here. Roll the intro. Let's go. All right, guys, I'm back with also Willie, all the way from Perth, Western Australia. What's up, Mosul?
Apples, man, good to be back.
Yeah, man.
Bit of a,
Yeah, it's the daylight savings ended in the weekend over here in New Zealand. So 1 hour closer with you guys now. 4 hours ahead of you guys now. So
yeah, 4 hours now instead of 5.
Yeah.
Out, man.
No.
It's a weird one. It's been like there's a lot of people that have tried it. To be honest, there's a lot of people that have gone and done protests or even just tried to go through to the government to change to have daylight savings, and the government just just stopped it right there and then before it got any momentum, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, that's too bad.
How you been?
Nah,
How's the weekend been?
Been good. It's been, I don't know, because every time the daylight saving changes, I think this is the best one because it means you get an hour sleeping. But it just means the bad side of that is the days feels longer now. Like you wake up, the alarm wakes you up and it's broad daylight outside. And you go, shit. And then when you finish work, it's nighttime. It's like, hey.
You just wait till the body clock starts settling in, and then you go, oh man, no, I've got to wake up really. This is too early.
Yeah.
You
know, but all that means when it comes to the games, Super Rugby games, then it'll be well into the night when the 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
7 o'clock.
Yeah, that's true.
Matches roll around, eh, man? And when they have the 5 o'clock matches, will be starting to get dark too. So, yeah.
Yeah, like so when you guys have that one, I think afternoon games, I think the Moana Pasifika and then was on at probably 8 o'clock here in the morning. I
think. Because it was 2 o'clock here.
Yeah.
In the afternoon.
And then I think the Blues game was later. So that was it's interesting, man. But
yeah, because the 7 o'clock slot will be 3 o'clock where you guys are, and so you guys will be still at work.
Yeah, oh, man, that's about half of the time. You can put the phone on and just watch the games on stand, eh?
Oh yeah. But then it would be good because Fridays just head to the pub after the work, just watch the end of the game. But I find that when I'm trying to watch NFL. Because the time difference of NFL is crazy. Because they have it on their Sundays, which is our Monday. But all the games start at 5 a.m. on the Monday morning. So you have to wake up early to watch those NFL games, but you're heading to work, and then sometimes you got to watch the other slots while at work.
Man.
So it's hard to watch NFL over here.
Are you a big NFL fan, eh?
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, it's been good, eh? I just got into it like 2017, I think. 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a funny story because the reason why I got into it, because I was in Hawaii and I was at a bar and the game happened to be on. And I just got caught up in the atmosphere. All the fans in the bar.
Yeah.
All wearing their jerseys supporting, I think it was the Denver Broncos they were playing, but there were heaps of supporters at the bar, and just it was just
Yeah,
a rowdy. They were all rowdy, all excited, all like into the game, and it made me get into the game
yeah.
because I didn't watch
Patriotic.
any
Yeah,
NFL at all before that. But just
yeah,
that experience being with, amongst all those fans, those
yeah.
sports fans, that just made me. Oh man, I need to watch this game every week, every weekend.
Yeah, they're very
Yeah,
patriotic about their NFL, and I know there's a few like that. Jordan Petaya, I think he's just been
yeah,
signed up.
yeah. So he left the
You
Reds
know,
last year in December. I was reading.
he was
So
with
he
the
joined.
Reds.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was joining that. There's a pathway program for NFL
yeah.
that's in New
So
Zealand and Australia, trying to grab some guys over.
um, there's an international pathway program
Mm,
that's run out of Australia as well.
mm,
That's the one I think it's the same one that Reese Hammett from Wales.
right.
Um, but he's from the one over in Europe. So it's a similar program, pathway. But this one here, I think this one here is predominantly just for Australasia.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
You
Because they
know,
came
so
down to New Zealand too
yeah.
to promote the
And was
game.
it? Do you remember? Oh, well, you know Luppy, yeah, because Luppy's involved heavily with that as well. I think he's
Yeah.
involved with that with the NFL stuff. And surprised his boy isn't playing, but he's doing some good things with the Broncos anyway. So
Mm.
but it'll be interesting to see how Jordan Petaya goes. I think he'll.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. There's the article I was reading about it because he was talking about how excited he was. It's a game that he grew up just watching, and this is an opportunity he had to play.
Oh, it is. But it
So
is. I mean, like
gotta
that,
take it. A lot of money.
man. That changes everything for
Mm.
for a kid and their family. So like you look at when you see on the draft days. I've seen some of the draft days. And you see them talking, and once they get their name called up, especially the guys that are in the top 10,
Mm.
that's like that sign-on fee, man. That's worth more than probably the top All Black making a year, and that's just
Oh
just the
yeah. Oh yeah.
sign-on. That's just the sign-on fee, man.
Yeah. Well, look at
So
Jared
that,
Hayne. He got as far as preseason, couple of
yeah,
preseason games, but he got cut. But
yeah.
that's the experience he's had, eh?
Well, my
You
Lutta
know?
is probably a perfect one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jordan my Lutta. I think he's just taken it to another level. To be honest,
Mm.
I think and I can guarantee, man, like there'll be a lot more going now. Like like I've got a really good friend who's used to play for Tonga, um, and his nephew out of Melbourne. So, but he's he's been signed by a college over in the US.
Mm.
Like big big human, bro. Like he's just you know what Tongans are like, man. So probably a big unit, man, and he's only 16, 17.
And that's probably a better way of going about it because he's got a scholarship there now, sounds like. So
Yeah,
you get
well,
that free education.
yeah, well, that's a thing, and that's probably one of the key things why he took it and he came back from France because my mate's been living in France for the last 10, 15 years.
Mm.
So he's down in Melbourne, but he was talking about us. He said when they went about 4 schools, and they flew them over. Like these schools, man, like that. Like, when they talk about these schools having money, man, it's nothing, man, to them. Just flying over a potential player for their system, just to
Mm.
come in and be part of their program, man. But apparently, I don't know if it's true, but apparently now, like I think the NCAA always have those rules where you can't pay those players, but it's becoming harder and harder for the kid to sort of be able to sustain living as a student and then working and all of that stuff where they're actually getting paid, some of them now.
Yeah, because they allow them now to make a brand out of their name now,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they can earn money like that now. Mm.
which is pretty, you can understand it, because if the college is making money out of them wearing the jumper, like why can't the player be able to, and I think that's like rugby is like years behind that, but you can see that with the way I think they did that with Jono.
Mm.
They were able to, and that was just because the manager was smart. You know, but not world rugby. And then you look at soccer's like that too, eh? They don't have the similar pathway programs as what the NFL does, but what they do, man, there's some money being thrown out there for somebody just wearing a pair of boots or you know. Oh yeah.
It's probably it's probably a good topic to talk about in another podcast, but just the whole system and process that America has with their athletics, with their athletes. Say, like, you can't be professional unless you go to a university, and because they all pick their professionals from university. There's other loopholes as well. Like, I think some NBA players are trying to, or some basketball players try to go and get a contract overseas, so they become professional and then they go straight in the NBA. So they bypass the college.
Yeah.
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 Like, a few guys have done that.
Yeah, that's what. Isn't that what LaMelo Ball did?
Yeah. When he came to Australia, for the NBL,
man, he was covering. I didn't follow it, but I heard he was carving it up, man. Like he was just like that. When you compare them to the guys that play ball here in Australia, like, man, I think he was on cruise mode. I would probably think,
Yeah.
But that was just the thing. That you're right there, because that was him coming over, and I remember watching where they had that sort of TV series about him and his family. And it was and that was the dad's plan, was for him to go over and go overseas, find a league that's where suitable for him to go and be a professional and learn the ins and outs, and then come back to the NBA via that, and he did.
Yeah. It's probably a pathway.
You're right there.
Yeah. It's probably the kind of pathway where you're going to be when you grow up. I want to be an NBA player. Is to do all you can to be an NBA player.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about school.
Yeah.
But
that's a whole new that's a whole different conversation with that too, eh?
Yeah. But now, man, we're here to talk about Super Rugby. So, man, I had this thing that we're gonna do. So, since we're at the halfway mark of the Super Rugby Pacific, I thought we'll go down the list on the table of all the teams, and we'll start from the bottom, and we'll just pick this team, and we'll just pick where do you think they will be at the end of the season. So, for example, at the moment, the 11th place team at the bottom, the Fijian Drua, they won only one game so far out of 6. Do you think they'll stay put there, get the wooden spoon, or would they move up?
So they would. They're unpredictable, eh, bro? The Fijians, bro. Like, man, they could. They're like France, man. Like they could have a really, really bad 5 games, and then they turn around in the second part of the season, and they end up in the top 4 or top 5. But as it stands, with the way that they are at the moment, like, man, they're going to struggle. They're struggling, eh?
Yeah, they are struggling. And it's funny you mentioned that, like, they're unpredictable, because even during the games they're unpredictable. Like, we talk about teams who are up and down, and we say, oh, what team's gonna show up tonight?
Yeah.
For the Drua, it's like, oh, the team shows up in 20 minutes in the halftime in the first half, and then they disappear. Then they show up again 5 minutes before the end of the game.
Well, that's right.
Like the game against Crusaders, because that last try. Did you catch that last try? He turned Waka. I think he came on as a forward. He came off the bench, but he scored this individual try, and like, he looked like outside back, man. It was a mean try
for the draw.
Yeah, for the draw. I think he ran from the
22. Was it the sort of one that's made the highlights reel?
Yeah, because he found the gap and he went for it, and he broke a tackle, and then he stepped one of the defenders on the way to the try. Like he had the guy on his inside, and he was running, and he had the guy, the defender, ready to tackle him.
Yeah.
And all he could do was, all like he could just pass the ball inside to the guy inside, and he'll score the try. But he stepped the guy, he stepped him instead, and ran for the try.
Yeah, but that guy looked like he was going like slow motion, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
Like the way he was running, because I'd seen that, and it looked like he was going slow motion, and I was thinking, far out. But yeah, like you're right, yeah, I think, yeah, them and the Highlanders will probably remain down that bottom part at the moment. Yeah, because I thought the Highlanders were going to really do well against them. Oh well, actually no, I thought Drua were going to do really well against the Crusaders, but Crusaders turned on. I think they're a much better team this year than they were last year, man. So
yeah, that's right. I like the choice of uniform they had. They looked like the Fijian team. I think they wanted to just represent.
Yeah,
because they're sponsored by Fiji Airways as well. So
that's right.
So I guess they took on the white and black, the colors of Fiji.
That was designed by the Fijians, eh?
Yeah, that's right.
For that game, yeah, that's correct.
But I didn't watch the game. I watched some of the highlights. And that's the problem when you watch highlights, you don't get a feel for the whole game, eh? It's different, eh? Because the highlights tend to just show the build up to each of the tries.
Yeah.
But sometimes you miss the important stuff like in between. But Silver Reese, he played 13. And like I never got to see much of that.
Nah, he didn't really. And the problem was, I don't know whether it was just but he's not a centre. Like it might have worked when he was in the school. But when you haven't played that role and you get thrown into it during the week, that you're going to play that role. But that's just, to be honest with you, that's just telling you where the coaching staff see Levi Almoa. To go get a winger that played the last time he's played centre was probably when at high school to play centre. That's telling you something that something's not right with the
that's
Levi
right.
Almoa. And
I forgot he's half Fijian, so it sort of makes sense for him to start being half Fijian, and that's why I thought they put Silver Reese in, because I didn't think of Levi. I didn't think of him because I thought, okay, you needed to have Silver Reese there. You need to have Shashay Fiaki there just because they're Fijian and to play in front of their family. But I forgot about Levi. He should have been on too, just for that sort of narrative to happen. No, being half Fijian, but no.
That was just a telling point of where where his standing is in the team. But to be honest, that's how I looked at it. Because those last two games that Levi played, man, he didn't even make any difference. Like from when he was at the Moana Pasifika to where he is now, that's a different player.
Yeah.
It's and it just probably shows that he's not gelling with the guys in the team. And it's kind of funny because like those guys, he plays with some of those guys in the NPC, like David Havili, what's his name, Will Jordan. They all play for Tasman. So I think there's something there that's sort of really where he's not gelling with the team. I reckon, then you've got McLeod and and then you've got Braden Enoy. He's actually got to come in. What's his point of difference? At the moment it's nothing. He's not providing any punch when he takes the ball. Doesn't add any value on defence. I'm not saying that he doesn't add value, but at the moment, man, he's just every time he looks flat and lost sometimes.
And he can't even crack the starting lineup. Havili's injured.
Oh.
They'd rather go with
with the winger then.
McLeod on there,
Yeah,
and
and the winger,
yeah.
you
So
know.
yeah, you're right, and it's not like he hasn't played with these guys before. Like you said, plays for Tasman, even Finlay Christie's still. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
hmm.
no, I just think he's fallen out of favour, or the coach doesn't like him, or what. But I think that's probably a coaching probably a clash there of two different styles of how you want to play and how they want you to play.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
so
you say Fiji's gonna stay there? I think they're gonna stay there. 11. I think
I think they'll move up
they
probably
move back
just
down.
to yeah 9. Like they'll get better.
Mm.
Like they're too good of a group to not be able to sort of turn things around.
Mm.
Like again, you look at it, new coach. Different style of playing. Well, actually, no, not different style. Same style of playing, but just a bit more discipline. Where Moana is where they were last year.
Yeah. Yes. That's right. Yeah.
So that's one thing. That's one thing that I've noticed is that very similar. They're tracking very similar. Um, Moana Pasifika in the draw.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, actually, yeah. They'll probably move up one place.
Oh yeah. One place. One
Yeah,
place. So you wouldn't spoon to someone else.
pretty
I
much.
think. Yeah. I want to give them the wooden spoon. I think that they're not gonna figure it out, and I think the reason why is I think the teams above them will win games, and their points gap will be bigger.
Yeah,
So even though Drew will win a couple of games, they'll still be at the bottom of the table. But I think it depends on the next few weeks. But the Blues, Highlanders, one are above them. If they start winning, they'll create a gap in points between
yeah,
draw. We'll go to number 10, which is the Blues. So the Blues had a good win. Probably, probably they needed to win. Otherwise, they've been out. I think they need to win all the games, or hopefully go for results as well. But it was a good start. But that game against Hurricanes, they beat Hurricanes before. Hurricanes is like they're a bit mad that they lost to the Blues twice, and everybody's talking about that. But yeah, the Blues had to win that game. They were desperate to win. They're happy that Bolden Barrett's back. But man, I watched the game and I was thinking, man, they're gonna lose, man. They're gonna lose because it was so close. And they're a team that can ruin it, but I'm glad they didn't. And they won by 1 point. They won by 1 point, so they hung in there in the last 15 minutes, I think. 15 or 10 minutes, they hung in there. But yeah, man. Blues are 10th. I think they're gonna move up. So actually, I think they're gonna make the top 6.
top 6.
Yeah, I think they'll
Yeah,
just scrape through, and make the
they
top
were.
6. How about you?
They were. Yeah, that was a tough game. That was a physical game too. Like
Mm.
for both teams. So you know, I won't be surprised if Paddy gets yellow carded, is out for the next couple of weeks for the hit on that lock from the Hurricanes. But he's
I
a
thought that was a
dog
red.
anyway, man.
The way I looked at it, when I saw it, I thought, man, that's the red.
Nah, the mitigation was on that was
They
because
pulled him
the
down
player
there.
was he was falling down as trying to pull that player down, and so
Mm.
but the timing, it was just the timing of his coming to clean him out.
Yeah.
But he wasn't trying to clean him out. What he was trying to do is take that momentum so he can hit and drive him forward, so he can keep the attacker that's got the ball going forward.
Mm.
But he dropped down, and that's when he collected his. But that guy's a dog anyway, man. He's like one of those real dirty players.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. Look, good job. Good job. Like, I don't mind playing hard in it, but like he's someone that always does cheap shots too.
Right.
Like, not saying that what Tupolotu did was a cheap shot. It was just that guy there who got that. He's the one normally giving those cheap shots, So who intentionally gives cheap shots. Kind of remind me of that Darcy Swain, so...
It was a lock, eh? So was it
Yeah, he's the lock.
Delaney?
Anyway,
No, it wasn't Delaney. It was
not Delaney. It was forget his name, but
Isaiah
yeah.
Walker.
Yeah, Walker Leawedi. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So, but yeah, in that game, anybody could have won that game. It was a physical. It was whoever was last man standing was one who was going to win that, bro.
Because if Riley Hoipa got slotted one of his kicks over, they would have won.
Man, there was a lot of things that he could have done to actually win the game. Like he kicked that ball out and he never put it out, and then Burden Barrett puts a bloody banana kick in, and everybody's raving about his banana kick. Like, and honestly, you could actually see that Riley Hoipa just looked frustrated, man. Like when the ball come back, but. He's been around though for a while, eh? The Hohipa guy, but never sort of cracked it, and that's like he's been moved around in a lot of the franchises.
He missed a few kicks,
and missed some crucial kicks.
Like
that. That's where you need quality 10. Like guys that, that's their bread and butter, man. Like just that's the stuff that they throw over with their eyes closed. And that's the same. You compare the 10s from Europe and the 10 in South Africa and the 10s from here. We tend to want, I think, New Zealand or here, but here in Australia and New Zealand, we tend to want 10s that can run and do all these fancy passes, but then can't kick the goals. Or he's like 25%, or like, and that's the other difference. Probably one of the main reasons why he was never re-signed by the Crusaders, man.
There's been a lot of talk about the tactics in this game because, man, I think in Blues teams past they would have went for the sideline with some of those penalties, but Bernard Barrett went for the kicks every time. Trying to get that score.
But that's what you do, though. Like that's rugby. That's what you do as a team when you're in a game like that, and it's going to be it's a physical game, and you just take the points when they're given. You don't go and try and win a line out and then drive, because the other team you're egging that team, like, take the 3 points if they're right in front. Why not? Like he's. Unless he's a real useless kicker that he can't get even the ones right in front, like, man.
It is a gamble, eh? Like when you get the penalty and you go for the sideline and you don't get it because the other team turns you over, man. That's a big momentum changer, eh? Like the forwards will go put their head down and go, fuck.
And you'll notice, and you'll notice now, you'll see teams, put up jumpers to contest the lineup. Because with the rules now, and the lineouts especially, if you throw a line out and you contest and it doesn't go down at the middle, it's a free kick. Like it's an instant free kick. So like so teams can just as a tactic, teams can just throw up a jumper just for the sake of getting one up, just to say, hey, look, it's not straight. And if you're painting a good picture, right, that it's not straight, then the referee's on your side.
From what you saw in that game, do you think the Blues turned the corner a bit?
No, not yet, man. I don't think their forwards are as dominant, as what they should be. Like, to be honest, man, when you look at that Moana team and you put their forward pack up against the Blues, like, man, those boys will, and I tell you, man, it's going to be, like I said to you earlier, it's going to be a brutal game, man. Like, there's going to be there'll be some hits. But the thing about it, I think, and that's the beauty of where Moana is at the moment, is that they're learning when to take their, they're actually picking their moments. They're not just coming in for the big, what some of the the island teams used to do, where they'll just come in for the big hit, miss miss the tackle, and then miss the ruck, and then end up injuring themselves in the process of trying to make a hit.
Mm.
So I think that's where Tana and his coaching team, like, their defence, man, they're brutal, man. And that's, I think that's how they beat up the Crusaders. Because the Crusaders try to beat them with that.
Mm.
The Crusaders try to go toe to toe with them. With the, just trying to muscle it up. But those island boys, man, as islanders, man, we love that shit. We'd rather defend all day than and then all of a sudden when he balls there to be able to strike, you strike. We've got.
So the Blues are 10th. Where do you see them finishing at the end of the season?
Well, the Blues will win the net. They won't beat. I think they'll lose to Moana, so they'll stay there. But they'll definitely, before the end of the by the end of the season, they won't be down there. Like what you said earlier, they won't finish the season down there at 10.
Mm.
So I'll probably either 9 or 8, couple of spaces. Like those teams there, like Moana will go up, will move up.
Seki, okay. Next team, Highlanders, number 9. I think they're on their way down, man, or they're gonna stay put. I think they're gonna.
They'll move up a couple
at the end of the season.
But they've got a tough road home, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, they'll probably just go up one place again, but they won't be making a big jump. With like just looking at it, everybody's played 7 games except for the Force, who've played 8. So everybody's got a game in hand except the Force. I reckon. Yeah. Anyway, so from the Highlanders, they won't make the top 6. That's for sure. They'll probably be in.
But disappointing, really, eh? Because Highlanders look promising beginning of the season.
Man, I don't know what happened to Tangitau on the weekend, though. I think he must have got injured.
Well, these guys are they struggle. They struggle when they're on the road. Eh?
Everyone does. Everyone struggled this year, to be honest. So,
Highlanders 9 will go up to Moana Pasifika, who's 8 at the moment. You see them going up the table.
Yeah, man. If they beat the Blues on the weekend, they'll definitely move up to 6. They'll be in the top 6, bro. Yeah, I'll put it. They'll make the top 6, and they'll be in the finals. And they won't remain there. I just hope that they turn up.
They're a team that had good 2 wins, eh? I think more importantly, beating the Waratahs was a good win for them, eh? I mean, if they took Crusaders by surprise, it's no fluke when they beat the Waratahs, when they came over to their home ground. So, and that was an interesting game because that was an up and down game. The Waratahs shot off to a 14-point lead early, and then Moana just came back. Came back in the second half. So we always talked about Moana being a second half team, and last week was the first time Moana played both halves, first half and second half, and beat the Crusaders like that. This time, though, they were sort of the same as previous games before the Crusaders, being the second half team. But when that second half came on, man, they just rolled them, eh? They just rolled Waratahs, eh?
But saying that, in that first half too, they weren't too bad. They weren't that bad, like the game was still pretty close. Like when I heard about it, when I heard people talk about it, and they said, "Oh yeah, no, they were just a good second half," but their first half was just as good. So not just their first half was good as well. And I'm not saying it was overly out of this world, but they still maintained that, kept up the pace with them. They knew that once they got the ball and they held onto it, man, they were, when they build phases and they just got guys just running straight. Man, you can't tackle those big island boys, tackle after tackle after tackle. Like somebody is going to get rolled over and then a try, and that's what happened. And they just went up the middle, man. And that's what, like I've always been taught, like man, Waratahs would have come like they got a stacked team, man. Like they got Wallabies, from the front all the way to the back, and then the bench, you know. So how they went around beating the Waratahs, that wasn't a fluke. They just knew that they knew what they can do if they held onto the ball, and they did, bro. It's like, and they didn't do that in the first half, They weren't building much phases.
The Waratahs scored that last try at the end, but before that, Moana scored 3 tries, and they both look like from the same move. They banged the ball up in the middle, but they passed it out
Back
wide.
goal. Yeah, yeah,
Because I
yeah.
think
The
that was a
pocket.
mistake from Waratahs 3 times because their backs came in now,
Yeah,
and they recognized that, so they passed them out wide,
yeah.
and they scored those 3 tries in a row.
Those 2 try.
Hmm.
No, 100%, man. So I reckon they'll go up. They'll be either 6 or they'll be either 6 or 5, man. That's
Yeah.
where I see them. Definitely be in the top 6, man. I think the said
Top 6 to get. What would I put them? I think I think it's gonna be a battle between Moana and the Blues to get that top 6 spot. It might be. So this game between those two this week will be important. So we move up to 7th place, Hurricanes. You see them going down or going up? Because they're like, I don't know about this team, eh? They're sort of like the Highlanders, but winning more games.
they're a good side, man. They're a good side. I think where they're lacking is their 10.
Yeah, he got injured, eh? The guy that they had,
Yeah,
Harry Godfrey.
yeah. Harry Godfrey.
They're missing him.
Yeah, yeah. They'll go up, man. They're too good of a side. Like they got some quality players in there, But I look at it and I think guys like the number 9. I think he's trying too hard or too much.
Oh, Royga.
Yeah, it's almost like he's trying to take it on himself. That he needs to fix it.
I heard the commentators say he's the number 1 All Black right now for number 9.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I know, but you got to look at that other kid. There's that what's his name? Cortez Ratama is not bad. He's been playing some good rugby. But also, what's his name? That new kid from the Crusaders. Kyle Preston. So he adds some value.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I think the Hurricanes will go up. They'll make the top 6, man.
They're 7th place. I think they're gonna stay put. They'll be around there,
Yeah.
around 7. Interesting that there's 4 Australian teams in the top 6. So you only got 2 New Zealand teams, Chiefs and Crusaders. Then you got 4 Australian teams. The number 6 place we got the Waratahs. They are 4-3.
Nah, they'll drop. They'll drop, man. Like the
They're gonna drop.
Waratahs.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
They'll move
drop
out the
back
way.
down. Yeah, they'll make way for the Moana Pasifika and the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Like who have they got next week or this week?
They got Chiefs. Another
Chiefs.
hard game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they'll probably lose that one and drop some more.
What? 6v1. And who are the Brumbies got? Because the Brumbies beat the Highlanders, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, the Brumbies beat the Highlanders. They've got the Reds, so that'll be a good game. See who's top between these 2 teams.
The Waratahs, like I say, Waratahs will come back down to either 7 or 8. And then you got the Brumbies at 5.
Got the Brumbies at 5.
Yeah. So
Are they moving up or moving down?
who are the Brumbies got this week?
They've got the Reds, then Moana, and then Hurricanes.
Brumbies
so
have got the Reds.
they got the Reds at Suncorp.
So yeah, the way the Reds, because the Reds beat them. No, it's the Waratahs that they beat up at Suncorp. And I'm thinking the Reds.
And then they've got Moana the following week at Canis Manukau. home.
So that'll be
Yeah.
a good one. So I think I reckon they'll beat the Reds.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon the Brumbies will beat the Reds.
Beat the Reds. They'll move up.
Does
Then they'll move up if they do. They'll move up fourth. If no, they could move up to third place if they. If Crusaders lose, they'll be third, second equal with the Crusaders. So they'll move to third place if the Brumbies win, and Reds will move down.
So Waratahs and the Chiefs, Brumbies and the Reds.
Brumbies and the Reds, yeah. Fourth place we got Western Force. How did they get there?
Man, playing
So
8 games. So they've won 4. They've won
4 and lost
played
4.
played 8, lost.
Yeah. So yeah, they're fourth place. They got 20 points on there, and that's probably due to the 5 tries they've been scoring every game. Like they're high scorers.
Bonus points, but
Those bonus points.
yeah, but you look at the point standing. Like they're all like even like the Blues, 11. So Moana Pasifika and Hurricanes are tied at 15 each, and then you got Waratahs 17, and then Brumbies at 19, and the Force at 20. So did the Force have a break this week? Or are they playing?
Who's got a break this week? They got.
Because they played the Highlanders last week.
Yep. Force on the bye.
Oh, see. So
I'm seeing them coming down. I see them coming down.
Yeah.
Because I think what's happened is that the first half of the season, all the Australian teams are playing each other, and then they start playing New Zealand teams in the second half. So I think there's going to be a lot of Australian teams going to be losing more games if they play more New Zealand teams now, I think.
Yeah, the Crusaders play. Who do the Crusaders play this weekend?
They've got Hurricanes. The Crusaders have Hurricanes.
Oh, that's going to be a good game. So if they win that, so the Force will go up, you reckon, or stay or go down?
Force have to. Oh, do you get points for a bye?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's automatic, just an automatic 5 points, I think.
Oh, if it's 5 points, then it's 25. Then puts them in second place. So Crusaders need to win. Reds need to win.
Yeah. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure if they do get the points or not, but yeah. So, and then you've got the Reds at third place.
Yep, the Reds at third. They're a pretty good team, eh? Like they hung in there with the Chiefs. They hung in there when they played the Chiefs. So
yeah.
It might be a battle of the top 2 teams when it comes to the Brumbies and Reds. The top 2 teams in Australia.
Yeah. So that's the Reds v Brumbies, so 5-3. So I reckon, they'll come down because the Brumbies will win. I reckon. They lost to the Reds, so the Reds have been going quite well, though. To be honest, to be fair. Actually, I'll pick the Reds, to be honest.
To be the top Australian team.
Yeah. Because they've actually been playing I like that lock that they've got that they took from the Rebels, Josh Cannon, I think. So I reckon that they will. So it's going to be they'll either go up if the Crusaders lose, the Reds will go second.
Yeah, Crusaders got Hurricanes this week at Wellington. So
and the Hurricanes won't want to lose twice to the Crusaders in one season. All out war, man.
Yeah,
but that'll be a good game. Yeah. So that for me, that's gonna tell you where the table's gonna be at. With so on my pick is Reds to beat the Brumbies, and then Crusaders to beat the Hurricanes.
yeah. So that means you're saying that Reds stay at third, Crusaders stay at second.
Yeah, and the Chiefs to beat
Chiefs beat the Waratahs, so that moves the Waratahs down. So that means Hurricanes lost, so they'll move down. Moana will move up. That means Moana could get 6th place.
So who's Moana playing this weekend? The Blues, that's right.
Blues, yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be the so see how that goes.
Yep. Yeah. And then lastly, we got the Reds. Crusaders second. You're saying they can stay there. Yep. Second place. I will say that they should move down. They'll still be in top 6 though. Then we got the first place Chiefs. Now I think they'll be consistent all season. They'll stay at the top spot.
Yeah.
Crusaders had a chance to overtake them before they
Look,
before they lost to Moana. So
yeah. Look, I think, to be honest with you, I think the reason why the Chiefs stay up there is like their whole squad's been playing. You know, it's just not their key players. It's like everybody's been playing. You know, so there's a really, really good. A lot of players have been added to the playing roster, and they're actually getting minutes rather than, you know, so they've been playing some really, really good minutes. So which is it's good too for your team, but I mean they'll stay there, man.
yeah. Charles, that's
Tricky, man.
that's the whole. That's all the teams halfway.
Nice.
Sweet. Who you got to who was because man they've got I think who's leading the player of the year. They've got the player of the year points similar to the Dalian for NRL for Super Rugby. The leader is Adi Savia.
He's doing some really good things, eh? Like I can't fault, man. You know, I know I was like I'm not ashamed to sort of admit, I know I was pretty critical, you know, about Artie going across to Moana and just the load that he was going to take. But he's shining, man. You know, he's shining. He's leading the way, and you know, and of course he's got some really good people behind him as well. Like you know, like Laoli, so Michael Jones. You know, got the likes of him, Brian Williams in the background. So you've got all of this generation of Polynesian Samoan rugby, you know, Polynesian rugby players, you know, pushing and guiding him in the background. You know, you got Tana there at the helm. You know, so I think, yeah, you know, he well deserved. And if there's an award like that, you know, you just look at the way he's playing, man. You know, like just a follow me type of attitude, really. You know, so you can't, man, like you can't not admire that. You know, like to do that week in week out. You know, and it's not one thing doing it for the All Blacks, but when you go and turn and do it for your franchise, you know that when you know your best players are there, you know, it's like LeBron James or look, what's his name, the 3-pointer for Golden
Steph
State,
Curry.
eh?
Steph Curry.
Yeah, it's like him, man. You know, like he just sets the tone and sets the standard for his team, and like they follow that, you know, and they thrive off that, man. And I think that's probably the good thing about Artie, you know, like he's growing just as much as what the players have. You know, it's not him, it's not just the players growing, it's Artie's growing too, and like from where I guess probably one of the key reasons why he was brought across by Tana and the organisation, like the roles have evolved. You know, like the way how he handles the media, um, the way things are being, you know, just I think the narrative that's been spoken about through the media about, you know, the Moana Pasifika and just how he's carrying him, man. Like, wow, he's doing all. Look, I look forward to the French coming over and then just seeing where he's going to be. And I think, you know, there's talk about on the media of him being the All Black captain. You know, but no, I think what's his name? Razor's made his call on who he wants as captain. It's just about everybody else then just, you know, getting on board with it. I think, you know, and that's probably what I hate. You know, Artie's probably not thinking like that, but it's the media that puts a spin on it and, you know, creates conversation around who should be the All Black captain and why Scott shouldn't be and why Artie should be. Like, man, they're both great players. They're like, you don't become an All Black captain by just because you got picked. You know, you actually got some skill to do it and to do it for that long. I think the media sometimes is the enemy. You know, like as much as you know, and I'm not saying this type of media platform, but also you know the guys who sit and comment and then and go and post out stuff about you know why they think Artie should be captain and you know like that's all well and good, but you know you just putting heat on somebody else that not not necessary, you know.
Yeah. So part of the, I think, fan engagement and what the journalists do and all that kind of stuff, just to keep the game interesting. I think.
Who's the DJ? I want to see. I want to know. I think it's the DJ that makes it. To be honest, you know, like you know, it's Alfred DJ Allgoody. It's the one.
Yeah.
Alfred does all the DJing for the Warriors. I think home games. I think. And he does a lot of stuff for the Moana Pasifika, I'm pretty sure. So, you know, they're the ones that bring the crowd into it, you know, when they pump up a song or when they pump up a Tongan hymn and you see all the Tongans sing it.
Nice. Charles, finish us, eh?
Yeah,
another
man.
episode.
Sure.
Man, it's good to do these hour slots. As always, also, thanks for jumping on.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate just seeing out and enjoy it. Good chat.
Yeah.
Catch up on the next one.
Yep. All right. Bye.
Later. Bye.